And we are back here for the fantasy football, NoCo fantasy football podcast here on the Jack Off podcast. Thanks to Alex for taking my spot this past week. Um, Ivy just went through a little bit of a, excuse me, a little bit of a puppy surgery, so I had to manage that. So I want to thank Alex for keeping my seat warm and making sure everything was right. Ryan, it's been a week. I've missed you. How have you been?
Oh, I've just been dandy. I missed your face though.
I appreciate that. I only get that a couple times, only from my probation officer usually. But
Okay.
um, another chaotic week in the fantasy football. In week, what was this? Week 10?
Week 10.
Week 10. So some upsets, some false shorts, some barely median losses come to fold. So how about I get it started and we just go over our first matchup and you and me will bounce back and forth. And then you and me can both talk about our very thrilling 122 to 91 matchup that we had this week.
That works. I do want to just throw out there in 2 weeks, I will be out of the country. So Nick will need a co-host if anybody wants to co-host that. I think it's that week of Thanksgiving. Shoot
Okay.
Nick a message.
All right. Well, that is now up for discussion. So I appreciate that. Um, Perfect. First for week 10, let's start with the shit show versus the Dub Farmers. The shit show ended up taking a win over the Dub Farmers. Projections wise, Casey was supposed to take care of Sage pretty handedly at a projected 145 to 128, but that could not have gotten more flipped as uh, Sage ended up with a 140 to 125 win. Sage definitely has to thank Zach Charbonnet and Rico Dowdle along with Devonte Adams. And we can't forget Amika Abuka, his highest score, along with Jamison Williams. So definitely some high performers all around. His wide receivers and his flex really kind of stepping up there for him. Nothing really left on the bench as he only had one player on the bench with any points. Everyone else was on bye or injured. Casey had a strong outing out of Drake London and Christian McCaffrey as usual. Jackson Dart, he had a pretty good week. I just picked him up on waivers in another league of mine because he was projected so high. Unfortunately, he did go out with that concussion, but that was still not really much of a sway for Casey. Definitely having a tough week out of his top flex with Cortland Sutton only getting him about 5.5. Leaving a lot of points on on the bench with Travis Etienne and Marvin Harrison. So definitely a tough look there. These are two teams that kind of sit kind of lower on the totem pole, Sage being one of them. So this was a really big league win and median win for him as he gets to try to climb the board, chasing after me in the last spot for the playoffs. So what did you really kind of see anything out of this matchup that kind of surprised you or any of the certain players get to you?
I did, and you're going to be a little bit shocked when I hear this, but I'm giving my flowers to the shit show,
Oh,
Hudson, this week. This is kind of a very interesting team he's got here. If you look at his starting lineup, Drake May, Zach Charbonnet, Rico Dowdle, Devontae Adams, Michael Pittman, Mark Andrews, Emeka Egbuka, Jameson Williams, Chase McLaughlin, and the Cleveland defense. Sage drafted one of those players, Chase McLaughlin. He has acquired Emeka Egbuka in a trade, Pittman and
oh,
Adams and Dowdle in a trade, Drake May, Zach Charbonnet, Mark Andrews, Jameson Williams, and the Browns defense all came off of waiver wires. I think he did draft like Kamara, who was on his bench, but otherwise, this was an entire trade and waivers team that he got 2 wins from this week. He's made some decent trades recently, notably the Emeka Egbuka trade um, to get Chase Brown and Egbuka. So flowers to Sage. I talk a lot of crap to him about being bad at fantasy football. He is bad at fantasy football, but
mhm.
this week he was good, and he gets my flowers for it.
There you go. I also think what's funny is that he still has Mike Evans in his IR, even though I think Mike Evans has been like ruled out for the year. He
I
could
think he can
return.
come back. I think he
He
can come
could.
back.
It says could be back by playoffs. So I don't know
There you
if
go.
that's talking about fantasy football playoffs
Think
or
so.
actual real
Think so.
playoffs. I don't know why they put real playoffs, but we've seen crazier things before. What did Big Al and MTV Gibbs do this week? One of the higher end matchups, Ryan.
I guess we should mention Alex and I both picked KC to win, so
Oh,
we missed that.
yep.
We also both picked Big Al to win this week,
Hmm.
and MTV Gibbs another big win. It's hard to lose when your RB1 and RB2 score nearly 90 points.
They had more
And
points
then
than almost my team combined.
yeah, and then you got you got your wide receiver 1 and 2 combining for 40. Like Kobe didn't do a lot wrong. He picked the wrong defense. But other than that, like his bench had points on it. Woody Marks, Jared Goff would have been the better quarterback. You know, if he picked a better defense and played Jared Goff, he could have had another 200-point week as well as potentially throwing in Woody Marks over like a Tet McMillan. Like there were some things here that still could have gone right for him, and he left points on the bench, which is scary at 188.6 points.
Yep.
Alex's team, a bit of a underperformance. Lamar didn't do all that great. Bijan Robinson had 2 touchdowns vultured from him. Overall, I wouldn't be concerned. As he said to me on the phone the other night, this is an underperformance from his team, and they scored 158. So,
It's a good problem to have, I guess.
good problem to have.
Yeah. I just can't believe what Jonathan Taylor's putting together this year. He is on
Crazy.
track to be he is on track to break the single season touchdown record by I believe it's LaDainian Tomlinson. I think I've brought that up at least once or twice. Um, but still tough. Kobe's got the best team in the league. I mean, when you have Jonathan Taylor and JSN, it's nuts. So it's really scary. But I think this is a really promising fantasy football Super Bowl matchup, depending on how the
Mhm.
like how the standings fizzle out with everyone falling. But um, just so many points. It makes my head spin. So another solid week for honestly both of those teams. Both guys getting the median. So Alex going 1-1, Jacob or excuse me, Kobe going 2-0. So can't complain.
Jonathan Taylor now has th 4 such games where he scored a hat trick, three
That's nuts.
touchdowns. Yeah.
It was the most. I think they said it was like the best performance overseas that they've had since doing the
Oh,
NFL
yeah.
games.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So yeah. Moving on to or who did you guys both pick, Alex, in that game?
Yeah. One last thing. Jonathan Taylor has 15 touchdowns this year. The Cleveland Browns have 14.
He's outscoring an entire NFL franchise.
An entire
That's
NFL franchise.
wild.
Yeah.
Who did you guys have between the Gum Munchers and Finding Nico?
This was the only matchup we got right. We picked Finding Nico over the Gun Munchers, I believe. I
Okay.
sent this meme in the group chat on Snapchat the other day, but it was like just the screenshot of
Of our recording.
yeah of our recording saying that Keegan is due for regression. Since that, he's 0-4. He says that I jinxed him. I just think I was right in calling out that his team wasn't as good as 15-1 was making it out to be. Jacob's team finally popped off. Travion Henderson being his highest performing player was awesome to see.
Yep.
Sucks that I traded Kyron Williams for him to get his first like multi-touchdown game of the year, but I think we'll get into that trade a little bit later.
Yep.
You see a lot of green when you look at this lineup. A lot of guys overperformed their expectations. Who knows if that's going to stick? But a great week from Jacob's team, and besides Keegan's tight end room, not that great of a week.
Yeah, Bo Nix really falling flat. That was, I mean, all the primetime games this past week were absolutely dreadful.
Yeah.
But Bo Nix having a rough night, only getting about 7.5. His best performer on the team was Trey McBride,
Mhm.
having at 27. Um, Tyler Warren, I mean, it's the dual tight end is still working. I mean, 27 and 17 points. That is absolutely bonkers. It does
Yep.
not help when your second flex is an offer, and I have no room to talk because my flex had an offer as well this week. But truthfully, not a lot of other not. I mean, Keegan had to make the moves that he did, and honestly, there wasn't anything too rough. I mean, he puts in DK and gets 6. He puts in Chuba and gets 2. Like, there's really nothing much else that's going to make a large difference for Keegan this week. I think Jacob. having Travion Henderson finally go off. I have Travion in two out of my other three leagues, and to kind of see him really stumble out of the gate and battling with Rahad Mort Stevenson in New England has been tough, but for him to finally get that breakout game, that's pretty cool. And it came out a good week. Rome Odunze having another good week. George Kittle going 9 for 9 with 84 yards and a tutty. And then, like you said, Kyron Williams finally having a multi-touchdown game this year. All the good stuff. And then the Broncos defense going off for him as well. So really, really good stuff there. And then
I have
now,
two
go
more
ahead.
small things to add here. One, since Jacoby Brissett has taken over as QB1 in Arizona, Trey McBride is not only the number one tight end, he's the number one receiver in all of fantasy football over the last 3 weeks. That's been
Wow.
a big boost to Keegan's team. He's gone, I think, 2-4 in that time, unfortunately. And then the other thing is, I think that he just forced too many trades that put him in this spot. I think he would have done a lot better with some of the assets he had before. And Emeka Egbuka in that flex spot over DJ Moore. That's a big boost. That gets him at least a median win.
Yeah.
Um, and David Montgomery put it 10 points on his wide or running back two slot, and then DK Metcalf just stinks. So I
Nice.
just think he forced the moves, and it's kind of been his downfall.
Yeah.
Um, you were going to jump into our matchup. We actually both picked you to win. I picked against myself.
Yep.
And it was a dreadful matchup between both of us.
Yeah. It was really bad.
I was projected to, I think, score 140 with the last like three games to go, the Monday night and the Sunday night. As you said, those games were dreadful. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and Aronde Gadsden all sucked. I think Gadsden even left the game injured.
Yep. He's questionable now with a knee injury.
Yeah, I scored. So Keegan ran with the dual tight end and scored like 80. I ran with the dual tight end and scored 8.
8.
So I got picked up and I got bailed out by my Seattle defense, and that's about it. There's not much good on my lineup.
Yeah. I wanna bring something to light. And this is just a pure leave your lineup, you'll really be okay. About 2 hours before the Thursday night game, I had Tyler Loop and the Chargers defense. And I was like, oh, Will Lutz is playing. He's usually pretty good. The Broncos games always usually end on the foot of a kicker. So I picked up Will Lutz, and then I picked up the Panthers defense because they were projected so high. And Tyler Loop ended up having, I think, like 12 or 13 points. And the Chargers defense ended up having a pretty good game themselves. I don't think it would have mattered much in the end. I think you still would have beat me. But instead of having or 7 points, it would have been like 21 on the sheet. And I mean, that brings me a little bit closer to you, but it doesn't get me all the way. Um, Really tough look from Garrett Wilson. I mean, I was at the beginning of Thursday night. I think our projections was like, I was projected to beat you. I was in like the high 60s to low 70% to beat you.
Yeah.
And my wide receivers just fell flat. TJ Hawkinson has just been absolutely just an asshole this year. Every time I don't play him, he usually gets at least a touchdown. And every single time I do play him, he has 2 catches for 8 yards. So just a really tough week. Brees Hall being barely a saving grace for me. Genty being a saving grace. Josh Allen looked absolutely horrendous in Miami and didn't kind of get his poop in a group until the very end. Um, so this is not the week I needed to have this. As we now wrap up everything and we look at the standings, Big Al moves up to first at 15-5. Keegan drops to 15-5. He's on a 4 game skid, technically two, but with the median shit. MTV Gibbs, he's at 3. The Bean Poles, he's at 4, which is you, Ryan. Casey stays at 5. I stay at 6. But with both Finding Nico and the shit show getting wins and median wins, that puts me, Sage, and Casey at the same record, and Finding Nico is right behind us at 6-14. Um, I don't feel confident going into these last couple weeks. I'll be straight up with you. Whether if it's Sage beating me out or Jacob beating me out, that's just how it is. I always get so much stupid anxiety when it comes to fantasy football, and I fucking hate it. um, but it's all in the fun, and we all have a good time at the end of it. But I got to find a way to pull something out here. So we got a couple more weeks to kind of get our poop in the group. So I did change my team name today.
Hmm.
I am Jank Botigo Hearts Didi with a little baby as my profile picture. So
Would you like
um,
to tell us why?
so this is a really funny TikTok meme that I've found over the past couple months, and I'll try to send it so people get a better context. It's really not that funny. I think it's drop dead hilarious, but it's just this like little baby with like no hair, and it's someone put it on a blanket, and this like lady found it, and she goes, "Jank Botigo, Jank Botigo, Jank Botigo Heart Didi," and I think it's the most funniest thing in the world. Haley thinks it's the dumbest shit ever. But I think it's so funny. So I was like, why not? So I'm clearly this clearly isn't a year to this clearly isn't a business trip for me this season. It's kind of more of a castaway, see where I land type of year. So I just figured to have fun with it, I guess.
I do have one thing to add about the standings. You mentioned that those extra 20 points between your defense and kicker didn't mean anything on this week. But one thing you'll notice is all four of you in the bottom of the standings are separated by one game, and you, Jacob, and Sage are separated by 30 points. So that extra little 20 points could mean the difference in you making the postseason and not making the postseason. So those
Mm,
points, whether or not you lose your matchup, that could be the difference in you making, a
a
postseason
tiebreaker,
or
yeah.
like so it's just one thing to consider that you never know. We could look back in 4 weeks and be like, oh damn, the defense and the kicker is what sold me.
It's tough. I really I was kicking myself because I was like I no I would not have beat you, but I'm like I would have been in at least a better state mentally, at least
Yeah.
on my fantasy football. But that's what happens. So I digress. We wanted to talk about the one trade that happened this week.
Yeah, why don't we talk about yeah, sure we can talk about that. I was gonna say we could talk about our one controversy first, if that
Okay,
works with you.
let's do that. Let's just talk about that.
All right, I'm gonna just remain neutral here. I'm just gonna let Nick react to the news because Nick didn't, I don't think, saw the whole argument.
I didn't really
There was a
care.
there was a
Time
lot
of
of
being.
yeah, no, you should care. 3 weeks ago, Jacob dropped Matthew Golden, who had already played, to pick up Justin Herbert, who was playing on Monday night. I said flag on the play, shouldn't be able to drop a player who's already played. He argued that he wasn't in his lineup, therefore he should be able to drop him. I think that once a player plays, they're locked into your lineup, your bench, your IR spot, whatever. You shouldn't be able to drop them. That's how it works in every single one of my leagues. So I'm just used to that rule. So when he did that, I was like, how is he able to do that? Nobody said anything. Commissioner stayed silent. Just so you guys know, since he picked up Justin Herbert, he's gone for 26, 28, and 15 as QB3 overall and has been manning Jacob's starting spot since then. So good pickup. Good pickup that he shouldn't have been able to have.
Mhm.
Now, flash forward to this argument. He picked up Brandon Aubrey, who hasn't played because there was a bye, but he dropped somebody. I'm trying to find this. He dropped Rashid Shaheed. I don't even know why. I can't say his name. But he had already played. He played poorly. He scored 3.3 points. He'd just been traded. So Jacob's like, oh, I'll take a streamer on this guy, see if he's good. He played poorly. Then Jacob dropped him, picked up a kicker. Nick, what is your reaction? We had a lot of reaction back and forth in the chat. We took a vote on it, and eventually we voted no, that he shouldn't be able to have him. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, kind of getting debriefed. Now, I should say I do care about this because I had a situation where I wanted to pick up Omarion Gadsden after Keegan had dropped him on the waiver and had him for like literally 5 minutes in his pocket. Not the same thing, but still something involving the league that needed attention. So I should be able to give the respect to everyone else when I want something done. I should be able to hear everyone else. So I do want to take back that remark that I don't care. Um, I think if a player's on your bench now, remind me, was Shaheed actually in his starting lineup?
It was not.
Okay. So if he is on his bench, you should be able to drop anyone for you should be able to drop anyone at any time. Now, to be able to pick someone up, that's where it gets tough. Even now in this case with Brandon Aubrey and the Cowboys being on bye, No, they didn't have a game, so technically there was no game played that he couldn't get picked up. But I don't believe that should be allowed. I feel like that's another way to get an advantage when people necessarily aren't paying attention. And if it's pretty laid out in other leagues that all of us are a part of, I know all of us are easily in another two leagues. I'm in three, including this one, so I know that's a rule in other leagues. I don't believe that should be allowed. So I know I didn't vote. I guess I'm voting now. So I don't believe that should be a thing. You can now drop whoever you want when they're on your team, I guess. But being able to add someone in the midst
It
of a
shouldn't free up
weekend,
a roster spot. Like that
yes.
roster shot spot should be locked. If you have four players going into the weekend and you pick somebody up, like that's fine. But like that roster spot should be locked once that play has started. Is how I see it.
Yeah. Yeah, because he had already played technically,
hmm
Shahid.
hmm
Yeah.
The game had
So
already finished. He saw that he did bad, and he was like, "Okay, I can drop him and pick somebody up who might be good."
yeah,
Especially like somebody of like Brandon Aubrey will get waiver claimed this week for sure.
right. Now, like let's say it's like, okay, it's Monday night, and let's say it's the Commanders and Bills. Okay, let's say you had Luke McCaffrey on your bench and he got called like he's out, but then like there's another Bills player like on waivers. Technically those two guys hadn't played, so
Yeah,
that should be allowed to
all
go
good,
get.
all good.
So
Yeah. All right. Well, I think it was 7-1, seven voting no. You were the last vote. Kobe also voted no, and Jacob voted yes. So I think we're pretty clear on that. We can talk about this one trade that happened this week. It was me and Jacob, coincidentally. I received Nico Collins and Quinshaw Judkins for Kyron Williams and Jalen Warren. If you look at the stats sheet this week, Nico Collins and Kyron Williams both scored 20 plus. Jalen Warren and Judkins both scored about 10 under the projection. So week one, it's a wash, but I needed a wide receiver
you
pretty
did.
desperately. I still started Juwan
Juwan
Jennings
Jennings, who actually
from
did okay for you.
waiver, who did great for me. So that was part of the reason I ended up winning. But week one, it's a wash. From here on out, who knows? Judkins and Warren both have elite schedules the rest of the way. And I think Kyron has a schedule, and Collins, I'm not really sure. What's your reaction on this?
I mean, I felt it was this is purely a business play. Like you really needed something. And Jacob's just kind of in that like kind of what's there to lose mode. So I do think because I'm trying to pull up the trade here. If I can't find it within the next 5 seconds, can you just go over again who you got Nico Collins and
And Judkins,
Judkins,
and
and
he
he
got
got
Williams and Warren.
Williams and
Yeah,
Warren.
my only
Um,
trade I've completed this year.
Oh wow. I do like Nico Collins, and then I was actually trying to get Judkins from Casey a couple weeks ago when he was on Casey's team.
Yep.
So I think it'll benefit you a little bit better with the running back wide receiver tandem, but also Jacob needs depth, or not really much at this point now. He's been doing very well. So with Kyron being, of course, an obvious starting back on a really good Rams team, that does throw the ball first. But as you saw, he had a great week. And then Warren being in that really kind of funky Steelers offense. Honestly, I think that's a pure trade that helps both you two out immensely. You're kind of at that top of the you're at the top of the standings where you're just kind of fighting for a better spot, and Jacob's at that point where he kind of needs to thrust himself from the bottom. So I think this was a really good play by both you, which it doesn't compromise
Wow.
either one
Win,
of you.
win, win.
Yeah, it doesn't compromise
Wow.
either one of you, which is actually kind of nice. So
All right. Lovely.
so yeah.
Should we do a quick gut check for week 11? Who we think's gonna win?
Yeah, let's do that quick because I got to get moving here. But
All right.
I like that idea. If it's cool with you, I'll just start with your matchup and then you can
Go
go ahead
ahead.
to mine. Right now, we have the Bean Pools versus the Shit Show. Right now, Ryan, you are slated to win at a 62 to 38% mark. I do not believe we still have yet to go through waivers. So I do not know if you've even set your full lineup yet. I would imagine Sage is probably still looking around potentially. He may want to swap Mark Andrews and Ferguson, but we don't know yet for sure. Um, Looking at this, I really like, of course, your squad. I think Pickens is going to come back and have a really nice week against Vegas, so I expect him to be kind of one of your bigger performers. And then also, I do see Brock Bowers. He had a fucking solid week the week before, and then I played you against him, and he had one catch. So I would like to think he's going to have a bounce back week, at least, handful of catches and maybe a tutty. But also, I don't know what you're looking at for the waiver. You're in a pretty good spot with your team, but I don't know what you're thinking at the end of the day. So I don't know if you are going after anything on the waiver wire, but at the look of it, even if Sage does make some swaps, I mean, he can really only make, in my opinion, anything worthwhile is Andrews for Ferguson, and then um, so I'm voting the Beanpoles this week for my win between that matchup. What are you voting yourself this week, or are you going to vote against yourself this week?
I think so. I got some good matchups. Hurts and Barkley versus Detroit. It's a tough matchup, but it's going to be like a hard fought matchup. So I expect them to put up some points. The Vegas Dallas matchup could be the biggest scoring game of the year potentially. Both
It's on
defenses
prime
suck.
time, so probably not.
It could true, but like the defenses both suck. So who knows? I like my matchups. I'm gonna trust the projections are semi-accurate here. I'm gonna also vote for myself this week. I'm not gonna vote against myself 2 weeks in a row. Um, I'll jump into your matchup quick. You versus the Dub Farmers. Jink Boteco loves DD versus the Dub Farmers.
It's Jank Botiga Heart Didi.
My fault.
Heart,
Not loves.
not loves. There's a heart emoji for a reason.
Okay. Looks like Casey hasn't fully set his lineup
He's got
either.
he's got Jackson Dart out, so he'll need to pick up a QB
He
or
could
swap
be.
Baker.
Yeah, we'll see if Dart comes back.
He's got a concussion.
Well, sometimes those concussions don't last very long. They just eat, vitamins and they come back.
Yeah, well, Scadaboo's ankle.
Yeah, true. I don't fully. Also, Dable's dead. No more Brian Dable.
Yeah,
Um,
Heart Didi.
just gut check here. It's just so we aren't just going over number versus number. I like Casey. I like Casey to win this. Casey's team has been underrated all year. He's got some nice pieces, and I think that he pulls this one out. No offense, sorry, Nick.
Yeah, I know. I'm in a tough spot. Parker Washington's been doing really good lately, but it's really hard to physically put him in over like a Antonio Brown or a Brees Hall. It like
So hard.
sucks. It sucks because like Brown's been so shit all year, and like, but he's like you can't not look at his projection line, and but like I mean last week like
Hollywood Brown, the Chiefs wide
yeah,
receiver, like three. He scored more points than Antonio Brown or AJ Brown. Sorry, also
yeah,
Antonio Brown.
yeah, but that guy's getting tried for murder right now.
Oh, perfect.
Aaron Jones, I mean, he looks like he's like his projection looks good against the Bears, but I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be a tough pull. I'm really hoping Genty going up against that Dallas run defense kind of just really kind of gives me some leg room there, literally. Um, but yeah, I mean, Casey's got a good team. It's really hard to go against Casey. I want to get myself to a median win. I think I just need to stay afloat, truthfully. So I'm going for the Dub Farmers this week, I would say.
All right. Um, let's jump into Big Al versus Finding NoCo, first versus last. I think this is the highest projection we've ever seen in the league.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think in playoffs 2 years ago, I was projected like 165, 164. If this 167.77 holds, I think it's the highest projection ever. Um, I'm not going to bet against that. I'm picking Big Al this week.
Yeah, I mean, Alex's. Let's just. I'm gonna read off the first like five names off his starting lineup: Lamar Jackson, Bijan Robinson, Devon Achane, Puka Nacua, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, and then he still has Rashee Rice down in his flex. Like, it's actually stupid. What he has, but I mean that's what it is. That's why he's number one right now in the league. So
Yeah.
it didn't help that I kind of gave him a good chunk of those pieces, but I mean that's just what happens, I guess. So yeah, I'm not fighting against that. That's Big Al all week.
Yep. Okay.
And then our last one, I'll lead us into this one. We got the Gum Munchers versus MVT Gibbs. Keegan's actually kind of getting the luck of the draw facing Kobe on Jonathan Taylor's off bye week. So I think that's kind of a small victory to begin with. Um, of course, Kobe needs to flop his QB and his RB1. He'll probably easily slide in Jared Goff. And then I would imagine he's probably going to slide in Javante Williams, excuse me, and kind of saddle on the back of that. Now, Dalton Kincaid is out at the moment, so we will see. Hopefully, he can pull something out on the waiver. But between the two, I think I will take Keegan, even though Kobe's lineup is not fully set yet. I think Keegan, even though he has been an aggression, I think he is due for a bounce back week. So unless if Gibbs and Njigba get him a million points, I think Keegan has a bounce back week and finally gets back on the winner side of the board.
That's crazy that you said that. I was also gonna take Keegan. I think Kobe, once he puts in a tight end and QB and RB, might have him a little bit on the
Projection numbers.
projections. I think Kobe is going to be somewhere around like the 149 mark.
Hmm.
Keegan's probably going to be around like the 145 mark. But I think you're right. I think that the team's lining up good. I think that Patrick Mahomes could have a really, boomer bust day against Denver.
Yeah.
But I'm fully on board. I think Keegan wins. Oh man, how does it? He has to go. I mean, I don't see how he wins and misses the median versus Kobe.
Yeah.
He probably just has to go 2-0 this week is my predict. Man, I have to back down from that. I don't have faith. I'm hammering Kobe Austin, MTV Gibbs. I'm switching over. The whole time I thought I was going the Gum Hunters, but I
Uh,
couldn't do it. MTV Gibbs has the win this week.
Okay, so I think you and me are on the same side of the ball for three out of the four matchups, except at the very end between the Gum Munchers and MTV Gibbs. So we'll see how it plays out. We're getting to those last couple of weeks here before playoffs get going. So for a lot of us, it's either get even or get even worse, and for others, it's just trying to figure out who to start in your championship matchup. So any other thing we want to end with before we send it away?
No, thank you for watching, all of
Yeah.
our league mates. We
Cool.
appreciate it.
Perfect. Perfect. Don't forget waivers. We'll talk to you boys later.
All right, have a good one. Peace.
Peace.